What do you mean? You got a problem with Randy Johnson?
Yeah,
those
I
old
do.
West rugged good looks?
I do.
Really?
I have a problem. Yeah. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence is better looking than him. He got long hair like him, and he's tall like him. But that's about it. That's where it ends. All right.
Randy Johnson would have been a great movie villain,
Oh,
like in
right?
a Western, wouldn't he have?
Definitely. He looked like he should be, like part of, Clint Eastwood's posse at some point in some old Western movie, for sure. I'm with you there.
All right, Trevor Lawrence doing some talking about changes that have been made and not made by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Calvin Ridley acquired via trade last year. Nobody knew whether or not he'd be reinstated by the league after a 1-year minimum gambling suspension. Lawrence said he's thrown with Ridley already once. Super excited. He's going to be another piece for this offense on our team, and he's just a good guy, and we're excited to bring him into the locker room. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, Chris, you said it when Ridley was reinstated. That instantly does upgrade the Jaguars, who are already on the rise. Offense already showing that it has the potential to be among the most potent in the NFL. A team has the kind of disastrous season that we saw in 2021 with Urban Meyer, and you just write them off. It's like what we went through with the Bengals in 21, where there are years of this team sucks, and you can't get used to seeing that team and thinking they don't suck. Jaguars have gone through a lot of crap, and it's hard to watch those uniforms, to watch that team, to hear that name, and think this is a legitimate elite franchise in the NFL that can contend for a Super Bowl as soon as this year. It's hard to process when you're used to seeing those uniforms directly associated with a bad team.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And even as much as we, saw potential in Trevor Lawrence and, hey, it was a good hire in Doug Peterson and they spent all that money, you're right. It still was like, well, I don't know. There's a lot of issues there and, damn, there's a lot of unproven commodities and young guys, and I don't know how that's going to work. So it's phenomenal year. It really was. And we saw in the early part of that year, they were close in so many games. And then they finally found that magic to, win in the fourth quarter, become battle-tested, and have that belief that we see that kind of, catches fire throughout a locker room to where they took the field at the end of the year and they started to believe they could beat anybody. Right? And that's where they're gonna ride into this season that same way there. That's what's exciting about them. And like we talked about with Doug Peterson at the Combine, this is a team that, I think is just finding themselves. Just like, whoa, wait, we are good. We can do this. And okay, this is all we gotta clean up these areas to become a real player in the AFC. They know how close they were. They know they belonged against Kansas City in that game. And it was there to be had if they made a few plays. I mean, it was going to be a tight nail-biter. It certainly was. But how can you not be excited about what you saw from Trevor Lawrence? You get a Calvin Ridley, who's really a superstar receiver. That was a great move by them, picking him up off the street last year and getting the trade done before the trade deadline. And then they got young guys that are only going to get better. So that's where you're excited about the Jaguars. And right now they look like a team that's built to last here for a little while and going to be, on the scene in the AFC in a big way.
And it really was strange. They started strong. They were up 14 in Philadelphia. They lost that game. They went into a funk. They bottomed out against the Broncos in London. And that was the moment that Trevor Lawrence had the light go off. And they changed perceptions, really, by the time they beat the Cowboys at home, and they were down, I think, 27-10 at one point in that game. They came back and won in thrilling fashion in overtime. That was where you start to look at them differently, and I think we should look at them differently going into this season. One thing that won't be different, Evan Engram, who did a 1-year prove-it deal last year, got franchise tagged by the team, and presumably will be there in 2023. Trevor Lawrence talked about that too. He said it's huge to have him back. When you saw what he did for our offense last season, how he came on at the end of the year, I just think we're really figuring out how to use him the right way, and he's helping us a ton. We're just going to keep building on that, and there's still more out there. That's the exciting part. And it makes Engram better to have Ridley there, and it helps Ridley do well to have Engram there. And Engram was a guy who was a first-round pick of the Giants, and there were flashes, but it was disappointment, and he did that 1-year deal. He's one of the guys who didn't get big money in free agency last year, had to do the 1-year deal to prove himself, and he proved himself enough to get the franchise tag salary. It would have been better to get a long-term deal on the open market, but still, this is more than we thought Evan Engram was ever going to get.
Yeah, no, this is a guy that finally is a spot that's comfortable and everything's aligned their way to where he can show us all his talents and really show us all that he has to offer to a football team. You said it right. We saw like little glimmers of it with the Giants. You always saw the physical talent actually with the Giants. It was just the drops things. And he had a few drops in big moments, and as can happen here in the New York area, you do a few negative things in a big moments, they can't get over it, and you're just trash forever. And that's kind of what happened. And it was unfair to Evan Engram. He got to a new place there. They love him. And how do you not love him? I mean, he's a Greek god in the way he's built, and he's 240-plus pounds, and he's as fast as just about every receiver on their football team, other than maybe the guy we just talked about, Calvin Ridley. I mean, he ran 4.4 flat at the combine. He's a superstar tight end. He has another year of what he did last year. He deserves to be paid like one of the best tight ends in the sport. Now, he's probably got to prove that one more year before he gets a long-term deal, but damn. That's, again, when you just talk Trevor Lawrence, tip of the iceberg, watch out. I mean, you said it right. That Denver game last year, that was where I was going, damn, I guess Trevor's just never going to be that good. It's just not going to happen. I was literally like, that's it. He misses too many plays and throws, but then, whoa, took off. You got him, Evan Engram, Travis Etienne, who looked awesome last year and is going to continue to get better. And then you talk about Zay Jones, Christian Kirk with Calvin Ridley and other guys in the supporting cast, and how do you not get excited about that? And then the defensive side of the ball, there's stars there too. And some of them are young and only getting better as well, to where you just go, watch out. Whether that's Trayvon Walker or Devin Lloyd, who they drafted in the first round. Tyson Campbell's one of the best corners in football that nobody knows about. Doug Peterson, you heard about him talk about the combine. So, man, you know, the Jags have a chance here to be one of the better teams in the AFC for the next 5 or 6 years.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.